And another wonderful good morning to you. So here is our joke for the day. What do you call a deer that has no eyes? No idea. No idea. All right, here we go. I'm on page 211 of your math journal. You probably want to open up to that. This is going to be a little bit more challenging than it needs to be, but we got to get through this. The idea is that we are adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. And so we're really going to focus on what that looks like when we use a calculator, and then we'll go to actually writing it out on paper. So I want to review with you a few things about your calculator and how to plug it into your calculator before we start writing on paper. Now I know that you guys have probably learned this before, but hopefully this will be a quick review. And again, if something's confusing, let me know, and I'll try not to make it more confusing for you. Okay, so first things first, get out your calculator. Everyone should have the Sharp calculator. It's the one that I have in my hand. Unfortunately, I can't put it on the screen. But the important thing to notice is that in your math journal, they're gonna have something called op right there. And what that means is that on some calculators there's an OPP, but our calculator doesn't have that. So whenever you see op, you're going to press the positive negative button, which is right here on your calculator, kind of towards the bottom. It says neg at the bottom, but what's actually written on the actual button is the plus minus. So that's important when you write it in. Also, when it tells you, we also need the parentheses, which are kind of around here on your calculator. Okay, so let's get started. Looking at number 1, it says, enter each number into your calculator. Record the calculator display. So it says enter negative 4.85. So what you have to push is first this neg button, so just push that, and then type in 4.85 and hit the equal sign. And it should stay the same. So you're going to write, it should still say 4.85. Okay, so that's what you're going to write down. So I'm going to skip over now to the one that is negative 4 in the parentheses and then squared. So the way that you're going to put that into your calculator is clear it. First thing you're going to push is the negative button. So push the negative button. You'll see the negative sign show up next to your 0. Then you want to push your left parentheses button. So then push that button. Then push 4. And then close your parentheses. So push the right parentheses button. And then hit enter. And, oh crap, my bad. So let's start over again. I did it the wrong way. So we have the negative button, parentheses on the left, 4, parentheses on the right, and then push the square button. The square is the x2. It's somewhere around here on your calculator. So that will make it square, then push enter. Alright, and you should have a negative 16 show up on your screen. Again, if you're not getting that, please raise your hand or get my attention and let me know appropriately. Okay, so that's kind of some simple steps of typing it in your calculator. Now let's go down a little bit and let's look at where it has the op thing. Now this can be confusing. So go down to number 2 and it says enter op 75. So when it says that, instead of op, we push the plus minus button. So push the plus minus button, then 75, and hit equals. And that's what you do. Now for something like the next one, where it says has the negative 89, this is going to be a little bit more tricky. So first thing you do with the negative 89, push the plus minus button, the op. Then you need to push your parentheses, the left parentheses. Then you need to push the negative button again. One more time, just once. Then 89, and then close your parentheses and hit enter. And you should end up with positive 89. Okay? So I think you can figure the rest of the questions out. That's the first page, page to 11 is all using your calculator, but I want to go to doing some just good paper pencil work on adding integers. So the first buzzword is integer. And really an integer is any positive or negative number. It also includes 0. So we're talking about negative 26, 0, and positive 26. Those are examples of integers. So we're trying to figure out how to add or subtract our positive and negative numbers. So let's just start off with something simple. I want to get you in the mindset of kind of changing subtraction to addition. So we're going to start out with 50 minus 25. So you guys know subtraction. You already know the answer. The answer is 25. But here's what I want to get you in the mindset of, is instead of doing 50 minus 25, think of the negative is attached to the 25. Think of it like that. So what we're going to do now is change the problem where we say 50 plus negative 25. Now our answer is still going to be the same. It's always going to be 25, but this is kind of the mentality to take, is think of that this minus sign is attached, it goes with the 25. But a negative number trumps, it always gets rid of, it overtakes, I guess, the positive number. So that's why we just write it as 50 minus 25. But getting in the process, like I said, of changing it will help. So let's look at another problem. Okay, what if I did negative 26 minus 10? Okay, now this is a little bit different. So like I said, let's get in the process of treating this, changing it to an addition problem. So our negative 26 is still going to stay the same, but we're going to do plus negative 10. Now does that kind of help you make it better? At least it makes more sense to me. We're adding two things that are the same. So we're actually going further away from 0. So negative 26 plus negative 10 would just increase our negative number. So we end up with negative 36. Because our negative 10 can be added with our negative 26. Okay, let's look at another one. I'm just making these off the top of my head. Minus 8. Okay, so we need to change this into an addition problem. So first thing I'm going to do, remember our negative 17 stays the same, and then we're going to say plus minus negative 8. Now the first thing, whenever you see a negative right next to a negative, it's always going to change positive. Now I'll say that again. Whenever you see a negative next to a negative, it's always going to stay positive. So instead of writing this, if you see the problem, or another problem like it, minusing a negative number, the easiest thing to do is cancel both of these out and turn it to addition. Okay? That's the easiest thing to do in my book. So if you ever see two negative numbers next to each other, directly next to each other, they cancel each other out kind of thing. It turns it positive. So we have negative 17 plus 8. All right, so what are we going to do? Is our negative number, going to get bigger or get smaller? Well, we have a positive number, so we need to take away some of those negatives. So we're going to end up with negative 9. All right. One more example problem, just to finish it off. So let's try this one out. So we have 15 minus negative 15. So what's the first step? Well, we got to deal with this. So I'm going to change it. We still have a positive 15, and our negatives cancel out because they're right next to each other. So our answer is 30. So the things to be careful about are problems like this. That can be confusing. It's helpful to turn this into an addition problem like I did below. And then also keep an eye out for when your negatives are right next to each other, like these. Make them positive. Make your life a little bit easier. And again, if you need help with those calculator problems, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in real life.